Today I'm going to walk through 3 different versions of a sun salutation. Whether you're new to yoga or you've been practicing forever, if you are practicing in Western yoga fitness studios using videos, it's pretty ubiquitous. You'll hear the term vinyasa, flow, and you'll see a lot of sun salutations. Now, if you're newer to yoga, you might hear vinyasa or flow just thrown around as a term, and you're like, what does that mean? Or often, if you just walk into a boutique fitness class or a boutique yoga class, you might hear a teacher cue that and you have no idea what's going on. So, the purpose of this video is one, to break that down so that anybody can feel empowered to walk into a class if they want to and know that they know the basics, they know what sun salutation means, they know what the heck vinyasa means when they hear it. And then 2, to let you know that you have options for a sun salutation. It's not just one thing for everybody that you're either doing right or wrong. And it's a practice that ideally can be shaped to fit you and so that you can get the right benefit for what you need at the time. The sun salutation is a common basic sequence of postures. And like the name implies, a sun salutation, it would be traditionally practiced in the morning to start the day, to greet the sun. But it's commonly practiced in Western yoga all the time, every time of day. And it's a great starter practice, or just something to throw in if you're like, oh, I want to move, I want to do a little yoga today, but I don't have a lot of time. Do a couple sun salutations, and you'll be good to go, because there's some nice breath work, there's grounding and reaching up, and you're working all the major muscle groups of the body in a balanced way. Now, I'm going to walk through 3 versions, but I don't want anybody to think of these as beginner, intermediate, advanced. And the danger there is, imagine if I'm a beginner to yoga, well, maybe I practice the beginner version of a sun salutation, but then there's a little voice in my head that says, oh, well, this is really not as good. I won't be good at this until I get to intermediate or advanced. No, we don't want any of that. Get rid of that voice that says yoga is something that I'm going to be good at or that I'm going to achieve. I'm going to climb the tiers. None of that. That's not what this is about. And equally dangerous is maybe the very experienced practitioner who thinks, well, if I'm experienced, I've been practicing for 5-10 years, I should only be doing an advanced version of this. And that's not true either. What if this person who's been practicing for 10 years really needed a different version of a sun salutation that day? You should feel empowered to practice any version, anytime, no matter what your experience. The goal here is to find the yoga practice that makes you feel good, that makes your body and soul and mind come alive. There's no tiers, no levels. So rather than say beginner, intermediate, advanced, I'm going to align these 3 sun salutations with the 3 elements of Ayurveda. If you know about Ayurveda, it's the sister science of yoga and is concerned with our holistic well-being, our body, mind, spirit, internal health, all that kind of stuff. And the 3 elements of Ayurveda are Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, or wind, fire, and water. Maybe in another video I'll go more deeply into those 3. But for this video, I'm going to show a Kapha sun salutation first. That's water. So the qualities of water are slow, gentle, grounded, soft. That one will be first. Then I'll show a Vata version of a sun salutation, wind element. So wind, a little more movement, a little more flow. And then Pitta, fire, will be the third one, and that's more kicked up, a great way to practice if you're kind of needing to be woken up, you're needing a little more power, you're needing to shake something off, inspire something, then you would go for Pitta. So again, the goal here is not to pick the one that's lower, medium, or higher level. No, it's to look at what you need in this day or in this season of your life and pick the version that goes with that. So maybe today I'm feeling like I already have a lot of fire. I'm feeling like really jacked up, like energized. I need to slow down. So I would do a Kapha sun salutation. Or maybe if I'm been feeling really sluggish and sort of like I can't get going, I might challenge myself to do a Pitta version of a sun salutation to kind of make myself wake up and shake up and get that fire that I don't really have right now. Or maybe I've been feeling kind of rigid and stuck, so a Vata, a windy, flowy practice is the right move for today. Here we go. Come to stand, sweep your arms up,
Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, take a halfway lift. Bring your hands to your shins and straighten your spine. And step your left foot back. Open the chest and then step straight back to downward facing dog. Just directly back to downward facing dog. Drop the knees. Child's pose. Roll through tabletop. Slowly back into downward facing dog. Then look forward and walk your feet to meet your hands. Easy forward fold. Grab opposite elbows, hang heavy. Slowly roll up, sweep the arms up. Exhale, fold forward, melting forward. Inhale, halfway lift, flat spine, neck in one line. Fold and step the opposite foot straight back, coming directly into a lunge. And step straight back into downward facing dog. Drop the knees, child's pose. Breathe in, tabletop, and breathe out, rolling back into downward facing dog. Walk your feet to meet your hands, hang heavy, and roll up to standing. You can take that as slow as you need. Breathe in, reach up in Tadasana, mountain pose. Sweep the arms up. And then exhale, forward fold. Same as Kapha, moving a little quicker, a little more breath, a little more air, a little more movement shape to shape. Rinsing out here, grabbing opposite elbows and forward fold. Bring your hands to your shins and get ready to stretch up for a halfway lift, keeping the spine straight, neck in one line. You can turn the head gently and then relax forward, forward fold. Bend the knees so the hands can reach the earth and step back to a plank pose like the top of a push-up. Drop your knees and lower your chest all the way to the earth. Keep your hands where they are and push up for cobra pose. Then roll through tabletop into downward facing dog. Lift one leg for three-legged dog and step it through, coming down into low lunge. Your knee should be directly over your ankle, then you can bring your hands to your thigh or somewhere else. Then when you're ready, you'll transition by coming back to the hands, coming up onto the ball of your back foot so that you're still in a low lunge, and then just stepping straight forward back into a forward fold. You can take steps on the way if you need to. Then sweep all the way up to standing, arms up, breathe in. Exhale, fold forward, getting ready for the same thing on the other side. Inhale for a halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold, plant your hands, step back to plank, drop the knees, untuck the feet, then lower your whole torso to the earth. Hands stay where they are, lift up the chest, cobra pose, flowing through tabletop to downward facing dog. Opposite leg lifts, and step it through for low lunge. Drop the back knee, untuck the toes. Hands can come to the thigh or maybe to the sky. And then plant the hands, untuck the back toes, and move out of your low lunge, directly stepping into forward fold. Inhale for a flat back, straight spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep all the way up, reach up. And exhale, hands to heart center, Tadasana. Begin in Tadasana. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold, plant the hands and step back to plank pose. Hug the elbows in by the sides, keep the knees lifted and lower your whole body to the earth, Chaturanga. Push up through the hands, upward facing dog, and roll back, downward facing dog. Lift one leg, step through for high lunge this time. Back knee stays lifted, reach up with the arms, sit low in the hips. Plant both hands, exhale, and step back, downward facing dog. Look forward and jump to meet your hands. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep the arms up, reach up, breathe in, gather energy. Exhale, fold, same sequence, second side. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold, plant the hands, step back to plank, lower chaturanga, elbows in by the sides. Inhale, push up, upward facing dog. Roll straight back, downward facing dog. Other leg lifts. Step through for high lunge. Come up on the ball of the back foot, front leg strong, reach up, breathe in. And then plant the hands to frame the front foot, and you can take another vinyasa flow here if you'd like, or just come straight back to downward facing dog. I showed the added flow there in this video. From downward facing dog, look forward, step or jump your feet to meet your hands, forward fold, and sweep all the way up, Tadasana, mountain pose. The last thing I want to highlight here is some options and tips for when you hear a teacher say vinyasa, specifically looking at the plank, chaturanga, back to down dog situation to make sure you have something that works for you. So here's plank pose. I'm going to show some common things that we see and how to fix them so that you're keeping your body safe. So in plank pose, I don't have my booty lifted up like that, and I also don't want my hips dropping. I want to have my body in one line. Hands are directly under my shoulders, nice and straight. Chaturanga Dandasana is when we lower our plank pose to the earth using the arm strength. Now here's some things that you often see in Chaturanga. You see dropping the hips real fast like I just did there, or maybe dropping the chest first and kind of collapsing halfway down. And that's just because we're still building the arm strength we need for the Chaturanga where I stay straight the whole time. So a good modification for that would be to drop your knees and then lower your torso to the earth. This doesn't mean you're doing it worse or differently. It's actually better for you to do this than to do one of those versions where you're just kind of collapsing and dumping, because in this way you'll actually build the arm strength that you would eventually need to do your full chaturanga with your body straight. So no shame in this. I do it all the time, and sometimes it just feels better to do it this way with the knees dropped. Last, let's break down upward facing dog. So here's what I don't want to see in upward facing dog. I don't want my hips dropped and my neck sort of crunched back and my lower back is cranking right there. I want to actually have my weight on the tops of my feet and my knees lifted up off the mat. All of my strength coming from my arms so that I can push straight back into downward facing dog. So looking back at upward facing dog here, if it feels too challenging to have your weight on the tops of your feet like that, and that doesn't feel accessible to lift up the knees with that amount of weight yet, instead come back to cobra pose. In cobra pose, my belly's on the earth, my hands are right by my rib cage, and I use my hands to push into the earth and lift up my chest. You can always take cobra if chaturanga doesn't feel like it's the right thing for you. What we don't want in cobra is to just pick my neck up like that and not my chest. You can see that looked kind of painful in the video. And I don't want to just like crank my neck back like that. I really want to use my hands and push into the earth, even if it means I don't come up very high. The goal is to feel some opening in the chest by using the strength of the arms and hands and the low back. Thanks for practicing with me. Namaste.